Alright, David. I'm recording. This is our newly redone, what do you call this?
Trough.
Cattle trough. And why do we need a cattle trough?
Because we've got cattle.
Yeah, what do you think of that, Missy? And David looking cool. So we're filling her up. And let's go over and see the cows. There's our shed. That's our well shed. With a well on it. Let me go look at it. Okay, here's the well shed. See if we can see anything in there. There's the tank. Some of my handy dandy plumbing. In general, it's a little bit of a mess. This shed was made with wood from the old house. And that's the actual well. It feeds into the shed there. Now there's a trench that went from the well all the way to back there, which is where the electricity from Burnet Electric dropped off. So we had to dig that trench and run electricity down to the well and actually run the water back toward the electricity and then off toward the house. So let's go over and say hi to our cows. Now, when we bought this place, it had the corral already here. I just filled up their water. They're pretty much drinking 2 of those every week, and that's so far in the wintertime. They seem to be laying down. So this right here is Special Sparkle. She's a purebred Longhorn, and we believe she's either 9 months or 7 months pregnant. They don't quite know yet. And this is Lugnut. Lugnut's horns have grown quite a bit since we bought him in only 2 months. It's already gone from a couple inches to what's that, about 4 or 5 inches. I wish they were standing up. You could see how big Sparkle is right now. But anyway, there they are, and there's the corral. And I've done some cleanup on it. Some getting rid of the cedars, but it's not done yet.
Because they might think Missy's a big rabbit or something like that.
Now here is our hay bale. It's kind of falling apart now. And what do you call that, David? The metal? Hay bale holder.
Round bale.
Yeah.
Bale holding. So
that actually came from our neighbor during a flood. It washed through the fence, took out the fence, and was completely flattened against the forest. And David and Daniel pulled it out with the tractor and saved it and bent it back again. And so now it's ready. Now here's our oak trees. This is where the old settlement home used to be. And of course the settlement home was, goodness, it was built in 1880, they think. And here's the big old oak trees. And the house was kind of between these oak trees. So now here's our house. That's our log cabin. Made out of cedar, big cedar logs. It's 28 by 55. And you can see the big oak trees around here. Of course it's winter time, so they're not looking great. There's the outside. Our 1-window unit, that's how we keep cool in the summer. Now these big rocks here is pretty much all that's left of that old home. We tore it down. That big oak tree. This was the oak tree that had the wild beehives in it. You can see pieces of concrete like there and all over the trunk where I was trying to get rid of the wild bees for about 2 years. Now here is the underneath. And so this is all the plumbing we've done. This is basically the bathroom. And there's trenches in here that I've dug so that during floods the water will go through certain trenches and not erode at the base of the stands. There's David, my hobo shower. We built that part of a class project, but also before we had our own shower. And there's the porch. There's the whole outside of the house. There's Tracy and Lori's old barbecue pit. Right in here was where we had one of our fires when we were painting the floor, staining the floor, right? The grass fire came over here, caught, the rags caught fire and grabbed a big old amount of extra lumber from building the house and burned it up right in there. Let's go inside. Okay, here's the inside of the cabin. Let's start off with our wood stove. That actually creates a tremendous amount of heat, mainly because of the length of that pipe. And so it's a little furnace, wood stove, and it really gets us going. We have a little TV and our Texas flag. I believe that's the Texas flag we got after Daniel's eagle. Congressman sent that. And some birds and some compound bows. Yeah, I got a crossbow over there. And there is, that's called Bow Bear. Beverly and Grace bought that in Seattle and brought that home for us. Now this floor, we put in the whole floor and stained it. And you can see the big rafters up ahead. Look at that. This is our old cargo furniture from back on Cavendish. Now Grace came up with a design for the whole breakfast bar area. This is made out of the logs from the original, from this house. But there was a lot extra. So we stood them on end, cut them to the right length, bolted each one of them together, and capped it with a big cedar split log. And it looks beautiful. This whole kitchen area, you know, this was a lot of work, right? We had never gone off and wired in our own refrigerator, our own 220 oven, all of the countertop we had to order, and it wasn't any more expensive really than going to Home Depot in the first place, but we needed like this one to be, I believe this one back here to be 14 feet long, and they didn't sell anything like that. And we had to cut a hole in it and put in our own sink. I think Grace got the sink at the rehab store. It had a good scratch in it. I tried to make doors for the cabinets. Found out I don't know how to do that. I tried and tried. Didn't work. Now when we bought the place, when we paid for it, it had no interior walls. So we came through and built all these interior walls. Patty's dad helped us teach us how to do it. These are some of the old logs that support the whole house. There were a few left over, so we used those. I believe this one even has a burn mark on it from the fire I mentioned earlier. And so we thought that was kind of a good reminder. And here is our bedroom. That's the headboard, the big mammoth headboard. I haven't cut it down to size yet. Right now it's huge. But we finally stopped sleeping on the floor just the past month. And we've still got a lot of work to do. We want to finish this wall up here to isolate the kids' room from our room. But we're actually sleeping off the floor for the first time. This room, kids' room, Grace and I built these bunk beds. And they're looking great. They're made out of cedar and some 2x6s. They're actually quite sturdy. And then the kids' room will actually join up to over the bathroom up there. So there'll be kind of a loft. This area is not complete. Here is all the electrical work. Daniel did a ton of electrical work in here. David helped me a ton with all the plumbing. There's hot water heater. The vent, boy, that vent was kind of a fiasco, but we got the stove vent going. And you can see all the electrical wires, and they run back into all these walls. And everything's working great. Hot water, cold water. Here's Grace's little area of finds that we found here at the land. You know, bones and metal things. Here's the bathroom. Bathroom's working great. We got a bathtub that Grace bought and refinished. Actually installed our own toilet and our own sink. This wood is made from the original house, but planed down to look a lot better. And this was a huge project. This is the shower, right? We did a shower from scratch. Again, built it with old logs. And tiled it, grouted it all ourselves. And we don't have any leaks so far that we've seen. So that's kind of the inside of the cabin. Let's go see if that, let's go see how the trough is doing. The trough is still filling up. Look at that, this thing can hold a tremendous amount of water. Let's hit pause.